Hi, I'm Cash and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. And today we're doing Leicester against Manchester City, and we all knew Manchester City would eventually start to get some goals and get some wins. But they didn't have an easy running as the scoreline might suggest, and I'm going to show you a couple of little key moments here as we break this down. But also I want to show you this little, as we start here. Here's a defender telling somebody else to mark Haaland where he should have been marking him. Happens again. Same again. Haaland doesn't score here, which he probably should have as this ball gets cut back. But I can't believe how many times this happens in the Premier League where a player is telling somebody else to go and mark a player that he's closest to and he needs to do that job. So it's unbelievable. Here we go. As he takes the ball down, look, dump. Here he goes. And it's straight to Haaland. Yeah, the keeper ends up saving it, but what are you doing? As a centre-back, you run away from Erling Haaland in the box, telling somebody else to mark them. Like, you're a centre-back, you mark their striker. But no, not in this case. But let's move it on. We've got lots to talk about. Because it's Jamie Vardy, I'm going to show you all the Jamie Vardy chances, you know. If you haven't seen my YouTube shorts and stuff about him, go check it out and you'll understand why. There is a little bit sort of a thing here where he does take a touch, trying to do something with the ball, and I think Vardy of old acts the first time he puts it straight through the keeper's legs. You can see there, but he tries to sort of control the ball, and normally I just think he'd just poke that with his left foot at the goal and see what would happen. He ends up not really getting a good opportunity. It's one of those situations when you take a first touch and you're in this situation, you're only ever going to go wide, okay, and then your opportunities to score are just completely limited because you go past the scoring funnel. Right, that's the scoring funnel. If you don't know about that, watch my coaching videos because I explain lots of different things. And when he's in this zone here, the only thing he can really do is try to cut it back. So his first touch takes him outside the scoring funnel, and he really puts him in a situation where there's not much of an opportunity. I know it looks like you can, but realistically you can't. I mean, that's not a good opportunity to try to score a goal, where if he did it on his first touch, he would have had a better chance. Ends up, keeper smothers it. Of course he's going to, but let's move it on. Okay, we're coming up here to the first goal, and I want to show you some interesting points here. So you've got to look at this block right here. We've got a 2v1 situation where clearly one player has got behind the Leicester player. Now you can also see a player here with nothing to do, right? There's no player on his side. He's a bit marked over there. The only thing he can really cover is the space in behind. But remember, the ball's the most dangerous part until the space behind him is. So when this ball gets played into here, the only person that can come and pressure it is him, right? That's what he has to do. So as soon as this ball gets played here, he has to be coming out to challenge for that ball and shutting down the gap. You can see he's just being a part of the back four. Well, what does that mean? That means he doesn't really understand and hasn't identified that his midfielder in trouble. And normally you'd hear like someone saying a centre-back stepping forward. Well, clearly the centre-back can't step forward because, well, he's supposed to be marking Haaland, even though he doesn't, as we've just witnessed a second ago. So this is the opportunity for the right-back or left-back to step up and cover for their central midfielders because there's someone has got in behind them. And he can afford to because there's not a player on his side. Those visual cues and those sort of little things, it's pretty easy to coach, to be honest. And the fact that they're not doing that just shows you always hear about the lack of time that they have with Premier League players coaching and doing whatever. But look, at this level, they should already be able to understand and identify and know this, putting pressure on that ball straight away because he's running at the back four now and someone has to put pressure on. Otherwise, he gets to shoot for free. And shoot for free he does. Now, this is the other interesting part, is you can see the collapse of the back four into a little tiny area here, leaving someone completely wide open. He should have been staying kind of, so he can go to him and to him, depending on what goes on. No one is, because there's no pressure on the ball. So everyone's sort of congregating, trying to squeeze the shot, but it doesn't matter. And we're going to talk about the shot a little bit here. If you're a striker or you're a midfielder, there's sort of key aspects about shooting from outside of the box that they don't really want you to do anymore. And there's so many reasons. I keep talking about my coaching video. They'll be coming out probably in the international break because I'm going to do so much work on it. About what they actually teach and coach you in the academies and in clubs. Because you'll hear something banded around called XG, where you expected chance to score a goal, right? Well, you don't have good XG from out here, so they won't want you to actually take shots from out here. Now, there's a couple of key components when you do take shots from out here, and Foden does this perfectly, right? And it's really interesting. When I'd say back in the late 90s, I can remember coaches saying, if you take shots on goal and it doesn't, and it bounces, that means the shot's not powerful enough. It's not a good shot. Well, because they were wrong. They don't understand. Right? They would say stuff like that because people used to score worldy goals like Beckham and Matt Le Tissier and fantastic goals from outside the box with loads of power. And you don't see many of those anymore because they don't teach it, they don't coach it, and they don't explain it properly. Now, what you're looking for is the percentages, okay? So you're looking for the percentage shot to go into the goal. Now, when you're doing that percentage shot, it needs to be low and bounce before the keeper. Now, the reasons for this is we're about to see as this moves forward, right? Boom, it's low, there. See the bounce right before the keeper? So that's the problem for the keeper. Like if you've ever played sort of like cricket or any of those sorts of sports where the ball bounces and skips up, that's what you're looking to do. Because the keeper can't really react from the skip up off the ground yet because it hasn't hit the ground yet. So it reduces his his reaction time down to a couple of feet. If it's just a driven shot and it's just going, the trajectory is just one trajectory, you can see it. You don't know how that ball's going to skip up. You don't know if he's put a little bit of backspin on it, undercut. And if you talk to real professional football players that are actually good at football, you can hit the ball on the actual, where you pump the nozzle up and actually put extra spin on it. So when it hits the ground, it can skip up and do all sorts of stuff. But then it's after the shot, which is a decent shot. I'm going to show you that little skip up again because there is a better angle. But when it does come down like this, now you can see, because of everyone's kind of bunched around the ball, no one's close enough or even thinking about reacting to the keeper's save. Is the keeper's save decent? It's okay. He's pushed it out the danger zone. Now he needs help. Okay, he saved it. He's back up on his feet looking for the second save, and someone needs to be helping him on this ball here. That's what you'd expect. You can't expect the keeper to save the shot, jump back up, save the second shot without any help from his defenders. And that's what ends up causing this first goal, because he ends up running in, bosh, and knocks it into the net box. Let's check out the next one. Before we do, though, I'm going to show you that little skip up of your shot. I'm notorious going, we're going to do this later on in videos. I'm completely forgetting as I go on a little rant. So watch this as it comes down, strikes it. See that little skip up there? Bump, bump. That means the keeper, because the keeper has to start going down, but does he go down enough to push it away? He probably could have got it further away, I think. But even then, it's not a bad save from the keeper, but he needs some help from someone coming in, and there just isn't any. I do want to show you this little part here about Leicester's. Right, so they're playing with 1, 2, 3, 4, and I talk about the Brazilian. I used to anyway. Last year when it was happening quite a lot, the Brazilian box system and the system of having 4, 2 centre backs and 2 centre midfielders defending as a 4 in the Brazilian box system, which they don't really teach or coach or understand in the UK because it's way past their understanding. But what you cannot allow to happen is when you create this 4, it's this one player be stood in the middle and no one close enough to challenge. So it's a simple pass into Haaland here with a centre back. That's where he should have been dealing with this, allowing him to turn and run at the goal. Now, he doesn't score from it, but it isn't the point. The point is he will score from it. And you've got a fundamental flaw, allowing a player to be in the middle of your field, in between your 2 midfielders and your 2 centre-backs, completely unmarked. We're allowing him to turn. Look at all the time he's got on it. Turn, run. He goes on a bit of a mazy and just puts it past the post. But that just comes from 4 players not being able to squeeze that box enough and being close enough to make a challenge and identify it as a player in the middle that they should really be paying attention to. Again, be better. Leicester did have their chances in this game, but I'm only going to cover the Jamie Vardy ones anyway. So as this bounces across, we'll have a little bit of a look. City kind of, just walking about a bit. And this is why they're conceding goals. That intensity, defensive, is just sort of, all over the field, is really gone. Thankfully, it's, I think Haaland is, I don't know who this is defending here, and it's not Kyle Walker, because otherwise I think he probably scores a goal. Ball bounces around for a free kick, knocks it over to the back post, and Jamie Vardy scores that right into the top corner. It's a weird header though, because he's so flat-footed, he's just jumping up and he's knocking it. Somebody else ends up getting a touch and knocking the ball around a bit. Not much comes of it, but it really could have. It's one of those chances where everything is a half chance and no one can really get good purchase on the ball to actually get a little, knock on towards the goal. Otherwise, I think they actually get themselves a goal here. Let's just move this forward ever so slightly. There we go. Goes off. Bounce. Knocks it off. Not a goal. Should have been. Actually, just looking at the other angle here. Watch Jamie Vardy's head movement, okay? Because when you're heading that ball, you want to be, at the moment the ball's hitting you, you're turning it towards the goal, okay? So think of that. You're changing the trajectory. Why can't I say that word? Of the ball. As it hits you, you're moving it over to the side. it's interesting because he's trying to do it, but he just mistimes it. He's turning his head after the ball's hit him. Watch this. Watch this. See, like, it's not enough. Do you see that? He's kind of, as the ball's hit him, he's turned his head. Well, not really, but it's just not good enough. He could have done so much better with that header with somebody of his class and ability. Speaking about his class and ability, here's another missed opportunity from Jamie Vardy, and he's killing himself. He knows he should have scored this one. This is a weird one as well. It's a good flight of the ball. And the reason I'm going to show you this is because it's a similar way to the Man City score, with a similar ball in, except for he's on the full run and he just sort of whiffs it. He just doesn't get a purchase on it. When I show you when his touches with his foot, he's actually nowhere near the opportunity to knock it down with his foot. He just, I don't know, he's just skying it. Let me show you the other angle and you can see it better. Here it is. This is his contact on his foot here. There's not much pace on this ball, and the more I rewatch this, sort of slowly playing it back, I'm like, well, could he have just let it come down a bit more and just passed it in with his... It's one of those, because it's slow motion and the ball's a bit slower, you're overthinking it and thinking, well, maybe he could have just let it come down a bit. But in reality, I don't think he could. I just think his touch is a little bit poor here, and he just skies it over the bar, where previously, years gone by, that's going into the bottom corner. There's a little bit of skill here to start off this move. If I tell you Haaland's unmarked in the box for the header, would you be shocked so far? No, you wouldn't be. But this is an interesting skill. If you've ever done, feet shuffles, moving the ball side to side, this is one of the million reasons you do it. Just being able to shift the ball from your right foot to your left foot or your left foot to your right foot can get you past so many players. I used to play with a player that was his whole move. He used to do that, drop a shoulder, take a shot, and it was just so effective. It's exactly what happens here. When he's over pressuring, he's coming a little bit too hot, boom, boom, straight past him, left foot, right foot, goes down the line and starts the attack. But again, I want you to watch this. Look at his body shape. He immediately assumes he's going down the line and cuts off all options for himself because he starts sprinting faster than this player here. So this guy, remember, he dictates what's going on with the ball. Unless your body shape is correct, then you can start dictating it. You've just told this guy here that you're sprinting, so he can just go inside here. All he has to do is slow down his motion, which is fantastic, and he does a really good job of it. So as we move this forward, watch him just slow his motion down. I'm not going there, mate. It's completely taken out of the equation. He's got too close. He's gone too far, over-aggressively trying to assume that the guy is going down the line instead of just trying to get close enough to then see what happens, because you're in transition. You want to set up in your defensive shape, and you need to slow that ball down as fast as possible. But now you're in all sorts of problems because look, you got 1, 2, 3 players perfectly spread out, and all you got to do is pass the ball across. As they pass the ball across, I want you to watch Haaland's movement here. He starts making a run. He's in the inside, so it's not an inside-outside run or any of that nonsense. He's inside this little area. Defender picks up his run. Perfect. Just stay with him now. As he makes that run, you just need to stay with him to make sure that he doesn't get a free shot at goal. He doesn't. Just stay with him. Okay? Does that mean that you open up the space for this player to come through here? Yes, but you're expecting this guy, because he's closest to the ball, to be able to come across and put pressure in that gap that you two are going to vacate in a second, okay? So as we're looking forward, do you see he starts to go with him? He does come across, fantastic. He can't go into that gap, so he has to go out wide. Now immediately, this guy, as that ball starts to move, that is his time to pressure this player, because he has the time. If he stands still and lets this player receive the ball, well, he's in no man's land. He has time to go and pressure him because the ball has to travel there, right? So that's his time to pressure. If he doesn't and he stands still, oh, look, because his feet shape is wrong, his body, he took 2 steps backwards. By the way, that's really, really interesting. I do this thing when I coach because everyone thinks that they're fantastic players, and I teach them that they're not, and they run backwards before they run forwards. You can do this really interesting thing with people's feet, where their body shape and how they put their energy down on the ground, and you'll find out most people take a step backwards before they take a step forwards. That's what he's done there. And if he had taken 2 steps, look where he is there. So that's where he was. He took those 2 steps back. If he took 2 steps forward, he'd be there. He would have been able to pressure the cross. He's not. Oh, look. And the player that ran with Haaland is now completely left him unmarked inside the box. He's just drifted. Haaland's just drifting. So when the ball comes in, Haaland's on his own, just sitting there, waiting to tap the ball in the goal. Easy. Gets himself a goal. Asking for offside instead of just marking the player, which you were not even 2 seconds ago because you tracked his run. Just be better. And other than that, I'll see you next time. on Cash Talks Football.